Give me a cheer if you're from Brighton.
Yay!
Those people. Give me a cheer if you're from Rotherham. Me, just me. It's not a surprise, to be honest. There's a curfew and a very high wall, so that's maybe why. I'm from Rotherham. Grew up there. It's a coal town in the north. There was a recent survey by Rightmove. I don't know if any of you saw this. It surveyed 500 towns in the up and down the country and ranked them all first to last in terms of how happy the people that lived there were. Rotherham, last. 500. New Haven, 250th. So imagine a place twice as shit. Okay, so that's Rotherham. Of course, it's famous for three things. Number one, it's got the world's biggest slag heap. I know what you're thinking, it's a coal town. Got nothing to do with coal. Number two, it's got Britain's unhealthiest kids. I don't know if you heard about it in the early 2000s. The government paid Jamie Oliver to run a school dinners program. It started in Rotherham. Anyone know about this? All of a sudden there was a tug of war between the naked chef and chubby fat kids through the school railings where Jamie was grabbing hold of their turkey twizzlers. Thirdly, it's famous for having Europe's biggest paedophile ring. Yeah. That's mainly because fat kids can't run very fast. Speaking of fat people, are there any Americans here? Canadian, I know there's a Canadian. So Americans are the last people on earth now that you can insult and get away with it. I don't know if you saw this, it's another survey. They gave a list of 100 animals to about 1,000 Americans and 1,000 British people. And basically they said, look, tell us which of these animals you think you could beat in unarmed combat to the death. Okay. So when it was explained to the Americans that they could keep their arms, they just had to put their guns down. Two of them said, well, I think we could beat a lion. 12 of them thought they could beat a crocodile. 22 people thought they could beat a grizzly bear. British people did not feature on the list at all until it came to fighting against a squirrel. And then only if one of their mates could hold the squirrel down. And then only if another one of their mates could film it and put it on his TikTok account. There's a crossover animal. There is an animal where more British people thought they could beat it in a fight than Americans. Does anybody have any idea what that animal might be?
Flamingo.
Flamingo?
Yeah.
No? They could beat a flamingo standing on one leg? No, the answer is raccoon. Raccoon. More British people thought they could beat a raccoon, mainly because they never heard of a raccoon. And also because they thought they could probably beat an animal that already had two black eyes. Only 22 Americans thought they could beat a raccoon, and that's two less than a grizzly bear. And they said the reason was because it scratches your face off and it screams in your ear. Speaking of things that scream in your ear, I met my ex-wife at a fancy dress party where she'd come dressed as a frisbee. By the end of the evening, she was literally throwing herself at me. She was a great catch. In the honeymoon phase of our relationship, I thought I'd send her a dick pic. But I got a bit confused and I ended up posting it to everyone in my address book, which was not only embarrassing, it cost me a fortune in stamps. The relationship continued and it was going fine until she announced that she was a vegan, and that meant that she couldn't have any animal products in her mouth anymore, so that was the end of oral sex. I was worried about what that might mean for our relationship. I was panicking. I tried to speak to her about it. She refused to talk it over with me, so I ended up discussing it with family and friends, but I went back to her, no, still not accepting any oral sex from me. And it seemed that no matter how many people I discussed it with, from then on, my love life was only masturbating. That's a prime word, masturbating. Towards the end, she started playing mean tricks on me. I got home from work one day and there was a dog in the house with a note that just said, I'm staying for a few days and I need a walk. I'm not a dog lover. I've never owned a dog. I've never walked a dog. Anybody own a dog here? Yeah. There must be some dog lovers in the room.
Yeah.
A very popular dog breed in Brighton is a cockapoo, isn't it? Anyone own a cockapoo? No, I'm surprised. The French have got a word for coq au vin. Essentially, that's chicken and wine. They've not bothered defining cockapoo. Anyway, so I took this dog for a walk. Of course, we went in the car. I went to the only place I know, which is the Brighton Dog Park, and I set the dog down on the grass. It's brown and small. That's the only descriptive words I got for this dog. I turned around, and from every single corner of this field, dogs started running towards us, frantically running towards us. No idea what was going on. There's no heavy petting in the dog world. They're straight into it. Sniffing on bottoms was going on, and then straight on to sexy time. Oh my God, what's going on? What's going on? I quickly picked the dog up and held it in my arms, and a number of short-sighted animals